G'day folks, today we are looking at the T-34, the Tier 5 Soviet medium tank. And I'm just going to go straight out and say what the best feature of this tank is. It's the gun. The 57mm ZIS-4 has a rate of fire that does this. Now I'm obviously platooning, so I'm going twice the speed with killing, but that guy was on full health, and we just killed him in the space of what, 4 seconds? The rate of fire on the 57mm ZIS-4 gun, which frankly if you're not using that gun, you're not using the right gun on the T-34, alright? If it's a tank that could use a number of different guns, I'll explain how it's used with different guns, but this tank, don't drive it with other guns. It's just, it is the 57mm ZIS-4 that you need to be using. It's a legendary gun. It's 112 penetration, 85 average damage, which is pretty lousy, but it reloads very fast. Watch what I do to this Wolverine.
Enemy armor is damaged. Penetration.
Oh, we need to get rid of his track. There we go.
Armor is damaged.
And he's gone. And one of the biggest flaws is the gun depression. It's not a great gun. It hasn't got fantastic gun depression.
Ready to fire. Let's find another.
Now the chance to win for this match was 41%. But in the end, myself and Wisher, though his username's Shaitan, ignore that, come out with a brothers in arms, and we did a combined total of it was 2,600 damage together, which is pretty much the entire enemy team killed by us. The gun is incredible. There's no doubt about it. The gun is incredible, mainly because of the reload. Your normal DPM, the DPM with 100% crew, but beyond that, just no equipment, no perks, nothing, is 2,312, which is really high. Chuck a gun rammer, chuck improved ventilations on it, and it's 2,627. I'm talking without brothers in arms. That is a lot for a tier 5 medium tank. That's better than lots of tier 9 tanks. And before you laugh at me because I was being a bit cautious with this M2 medium, first off, this is not an example of how really well to play how to play the T-34 really well, because I wasn't particularly good at it at the time, though this was an incredibly good match. But I was looking at that M2 and I was thinking, does he have the howitzer? Because if he has the howitzer, then you might scoff at the thought, but you haven't been killed by an ammo rack from a little tier 3 howitzer. I have. Don't fuck around with that. This is a good example of the biggest flaw with the T-34 gun. It's not the gun depression, it's pretty bad, but the aiming time is significantly longer than the reload. That's why it's really important that you put an enhanced gun laying drive on it to boost that the aiming time. I expected that to hit, so I ended up moving and didn't get that kill. Bit disappointing. But the penetration is enough to, quite capably take down any tier 5 and most tier 6s if they're not angling. And if you ever find yourself in a situation where you do need to use premium ammo, then you've got the right gun for it. The normal penetration there, standard AP ammunition, has 112 penetration. The APCR is 170. That is around about a 50% increase in penetration using the APCR. That is huge. That's tier 6 KB85, 100mm, the 100mm gun, that's its penetration. It's bloody high penetration for premium ammo. Really, really high. Now you'll notice a few things here, how it wasn't the best played game. I just drove across the open, got hit by a high explosive round from the Wolverine. Very lucky it did not penetrate. That should have penetrated. By rights, we should have lost this. But I got a bit lucky. This is more of an illustration of how even if you're lousy, and I did play quite lousily this game, you can still get a really good result in the T-34. My allies, 2 of them very, very far away, sitting up on that hill, they kind of did save my life by tracking him, very possibly. But then again, if that shot on the heads up on the hill had hit, and if that kill wasn't stolen, that would have been a Radley Walters medal. But well. Now there's something to be said when you have a very, very high reload. Really, really fast reload. It means you can spread your shots out. So the first shot goes in there, then I think, oh, hit the gun. And I've damaged his gun, and so his shot misses. The best situation is having a very, very high reload and rather low damage, because it means you're flexible. if you need to take down, I don't know, 5 different tanks that are all one-shot kills, you can do that in, what, 10 seconds? It's 8 seconds, actually. It's around about a 2-second reload with the equipment loaded, about 2.5 before you load equipment on, which is still incredibly fast. It's a very, very fast reload for a pretty good penetrating gun, and it's also quite accurate. The only difficulty with it is that aiming time, which means you can't snipe effectively, and you shouldn't be sniping effectively. That's not the idea of this tank. You're also not supposed to get too close being focus fired, because the armor, well, I'll talk about the armor later, but it's not good enough to be head-on duking it out with enemy tanks. Most of them, tier 4s and 3s and all that, definitely, but tier 5s and up, it's just not enough. One little known thing about the T-34 is it's actually quite stealthy. Now obviously here it's not really relevant because I'm firing a Hetzer, and Hetzer, the view range is terrible. I have one, it's just you can't see anything. But you'll see a little bit later, particularly with the Chino, I think it's a Chino, poking around in the cap circle. It's quite close to me, but I'm able to fire it in with impunity. Reckon I can hit that hatch? Nope. May as well just get rid of his cover so he'll get a bit spooked. Oh yeah, he's spooked. Put a random shot in there. So I'm sitting up here and I'm just putting the reload to work. It doesn't matter if you miss. That's one of the big ups of this gun. You can miss and it's okay because you're reloaded, in no time. Now here we go. There's that Chino right there. I'm unloading straight into him, but he can't see me. He just killed my Panzer 38 NA that was chilling up on the hill, but he couldn't see me. Your view range in the T-34, well, it's not enough to spot the Chino, but it's an okay for a Russian tank. But you saw before, I was in the T-34, I had my good rate of fire, and I was playing it badly and still did well. But if you play the tank well, it's capable of a lot more. This is actually the same game as that where I killed the Hummel earlier, but a bit earlier on. Now watch what I can do to a tier 5 heavy, the VK3001H. Alright, watch what I do to it. This will show exactly how you're supposed to drive it in this situation. Shoot, back, shoot, back, make him come around to you. Shoot, back, keep on going back. And he's shooting on the move, he's never going to hit me. I'm just making small movements, quickly making myself a small target, and then I kind of derp it up here. Yeah, shoot to the side armor. But ultimately, you only hit me once that entire time. And then a sniping KV-1 smashes me, which I kill him later, so it's alright. And you'll see it again here. Do the exact, well, not the exact same thing, very similar thing. This tank loves to poke back, because you have the reload to be good to go. You can duck back, then come back out, and you're good to go. And I absolutely stuff it up at the start, way too far out. And you'll also see what I mean by flexible. There are 2 tanks there, and because they took a second in between their rushing towards me, I can kill one and already be good to attack the next one by the time he gets around. Fantastic performance, killing 2 T-28s. They had the same gun as me. But because I was ducking back, going forward, ducking back, they couldn't get a clear shot, and because of how flexible the gun is, I was able to dispatch 2 of them. Now the arm of the T-34, I mentioned it before, but there's a way to drive it. Now I'm going to slow it down here just so you can see what I do. You have to angle it very particularly. You'll see as I drive down here, I'm crossing his line of fire, and I've got my side armor towards him. So when he shoots me, it bounces straight off that side armor because it's a guaranteed ricochet with 70 degrees or plus, 70 degrees or more. His second shot, he just aims straight at me, so it's not a big deal. But that's what you have to do, and you'll see it again in this one as well. This was a fantastic match because everything is tiny tiers and not very good players. If you ever find yourself in this sort of match in the T-34, who cares about skill? You don't really need it. Make quick work of this fella. Cover your eyes, there's cruelty to small tanks. Alright, so I angle myself here. That is right there, that is optimum angling, because the side armor is pretty rubbish. You only want to angle it such that it's an automatic ricochet, and that is as far as you want. And this was a surprise. That's an enemy T-34, so surely I should be screwed. He got his first shot in, he's got his second shot in. Surely I will lose. But I get forward, and that's another thing about the T-34. Its turret armor is actually pretty good. The issue with the turret is it's very tall, and that cupola on the top, it's not very strong. Now, I'm doing that again. Driving forward, that exact same angle, crossing his line of fire, and as a consequence, he shot too wide, and it bounced off the side. That's not going to happen incredibly often, but it's going to happen enough that you should drive like that. As you can see, I'm putting the reload to work and spreading out my fire. I'm not going to lie, this was the most intense fight that I'd ever been in. So I pull back and I go, okay, I'll have a snipe at the cupola of this AMX. Why can't I? Oh, that's why I couldn't aim. I'm falling off the cliff. Kill him, and then forward, under his gun depression. That's why it pays to own a lot of tanks. Gun depression isn't good, and Allied Valentine kills him. Now, what we're looking at here is my Soviet tech tree. Yeah, quit snooping. The T-34, sitting at tier 5, can go to so many different tanks. There's an Su-85, there's the A-43, the MT-25, and the T-34-85. There's four entirely separate tank lines you can go through from the T-34. And what that means in the long run is you can go to every single Soviet tier 10 except for the artillery and the tier 10 heavy that goes from the KV line. That's bloody crazy. That is a lot of tanks. My T-34 has, 1.5 perks, and you're looking at gun laying drive, ventilation, and a gun rammer. That's how I load it out. I should probably chuck camo equipment on there just because it's good practice. And statistically, my T-34 is one of my best played tanks. 3 marks of excellence in it. I had to mention it eventually. Damn proud of that. And one of the best WN8 ratings, basically just second only to the T-50, which as a tank was unreal, or rather statistically was unreal. So if you're interested in getting your WN8 rating right up there, the T-34, well, it's capable of doing it. Average damage in that thing is 700. It's really, really solid. Moving along swiftly, we have the Ace Tanker match, and this was the lowest experience Ace Tanker match that I could find, and I've got a lot of them lying around. It's every day I'll get an Ace Tanker in the T-34. I don't understand it. It's such a good tank, but anyway, it's a tier 7 match, which I think that's the first tier 7 match I've had in this video, but it was a solid match. It wasn't outstanding. It was just a good solid match, and I pretty much do everything that I've mentioned that you have to do. So here we are on Mountain Pass, and actually there's a few things I should mention while we're going through this, and I'm not just going to leave you to watch the replay. I'm trying something different. Anyway, because it's sloped armor, the T-34's frontal armor is sloped, which is normally pretty good because it means when you angle it, you can get some automatic ricochets. But the trouble is if people drive from, they shoot down from above you, because then your armor is like 35-40 millimeters thick if they're shooting down at your frontal armor. If it's a flat armored tank like the Tiger P, it's got flat armor and people shoot it from above, then it only gets thicker. It's not the case with the T-34. You want flat surfaces, or you want to be above the enemy, but then again you don't have the gun depression. So also the reload, you might think, wow, that's a really good reload, but think of it like this. If you come up against a KV-2, alright, big, very scary Russian tank, alright, very strong, and it fires and misses, or it doesn't do full damage to you. Occasionally happens, I've had it in my KV-2 happen a lot. Then you've basically got, at worst, like, if they have got everything loaded on there to speed up their reload, it is 20 seconds for their reload. KV-2 on max health has 810 HP. That means it takes 10 armor penetrating hits from the T-34 to do it. 10 hits means 9 reloads, which, with equipment, it takes you 18 seconds. 9 reloads times by 2 is 18 seconds. You can kill a tier 6 heavy, the KV-2, while it reloads. And this is, of course, in a worst case scenario. Imagine if the KV-2 is basically without equipment, without brothers in arms, without all that. It's more like a 25-second reload. So you could bounce 2-3 shots on its armor and still manage to kill it before it reloads. That's pretty damn impressive. Not many tanks can boast that they can do that. And that just comes down to DPM, and because it fires so fast, it's not a big deal if one of your shots bounces. Anyway, back to the actual match. I've been doing my poke shoot, and because I'm only tier 5 and it's a tier 7 game, it's all about looking for when they're reloading. And artillery's having a bit of a go at us here. not having a good time. I'm totally fine in terms of damage. I don't get damaged till very late in this game. So I'm just looking for people to shoot at while my allies are taking the beating. And you might think, oh, that's pretty fucking dirty of you, isn't it? No, I'm tier 5. I shouldn't be taking the hits. We've got a Black Prince here. We've got the Chiri who's about to cark it. And the Stug, well, not really the Stug. No reason why you should be getting shot at. But there are tanks here that should be taking the hits. And whee! Top speed of the T-34 is around about 55 k's an hour. Doesn't have the best engine power, but that position was very powerful because I was up on a slope. Quick acceleration means I can zip by before they reload. That's something it has over the other tier 5 mediums, is that top speed. You don't see it incredibly often, but when you do, it's really something. Now this Hellcat Corpse is actually probably the best possible shape, because now when I go around, a BDRG-1B, he's not feeling too good because he's going to have a horrible time hitting my armor and bounced right off. And I can hit him occasionally. I think half of the reticle is shooting into the dirt. That's Rudy. Ooh, where's he going? I still haven't taken damage. I've only received one hit and it's bounced straight off. And our chance to win this was pretty good. But that's if you're going straight off the stats. If you look at the stats, then I'm the only green player. So that's giving us a bit of an unfair boost because I'm not in the tier 7 tank. I'm not going to influence as significantly. And the enemy's top tier was a lot better all round than our top tier. But it was okay. Bit of a landslide, really. And we're cruising along. That SU-100Y, kudos to him. You notice what he did there? He got one... Ooh, shit. He got one big hit to the Rudy, and then he saw that I was shooting at him, so he ignored him and kept driving forward. That was actually the best thing he possibly could have done. It's just that artillery was ready for him. That was a bit unexpected. Oh well. It's scumbags shooting up from the back of the map. What can you do? Now that archer, I'm not sure if he was shooting for me. If so, he certainly didn't aim for very long. And now I'm going to take my first damage, which is a bit disappointing. I have a few instances of bad luck here. Certainly not at the start. I come around, yeah, there's no surprise that he went through and he killed my driver. God. The driver dies a lot, I've noticed. He's constantly dying. He's probably just a pussy. So I go around, oh, that shot missed. Okay. That shot hit, penetrated, that's good. That shot hit, now, okay, that's good. And that failed to penetrate. You know what, if that had penetrated, I would have gotten that kill. Now, did you notice what just happened in the battle messages? My platoon mate Tyrone and the enemy FV-304 bird just killed each other. Tyrone was driving his Panzer SFL-4C, the Stabsfallerfett, which it has no armor, and so the FV-304 just literally rammed him. Credit where credit's due, that was a really good play. Gave my platoon mate a kamikaze medal. Anyway, that pretty much does it for my review of the T-34. I hope it was good. I do recommend getting the tank if you don't already have it. And if you do, then I hope it helped you understand how you can improve with it. Anyway, if you like the video, like it. If you like my voice, subscribe, and I'll see you next time.